Do. Checking to see if the sound is actually sounding. Hi. You want to say hi? We have a kitty. Okay, the sound seems to be working the way it is supposed to. That is awesome. Alrighty. Hello, welcome to Words Have Power. How's everybody doing? I was actually able to take some time and put some makeup on my face. What? That's amazing for today. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. All right. So, hey babe. All right. So, oh, I forgot to do the thing. Can I help you? Do you want to say hi? Oh, yeah. We has kitty. All right. So, this live stream is a special request for someone who was asking me to elaborate on sympathy ploys, the sympathy ploy apology in particular. Hoovering, Yellow Rock, and that's probably going to go into some other things as well because they kind of tie in together like pieces of a puzzle, right? So with the sympathy ploy apology. So you have somebody who's toxic and abusive, does really bad things, and they get called out for it. A lot of the time, this seems to happen when it's more of a public call out, like friends and family and social groups. It could be a workplace situation or other groups find out that a person is being abusive. And that abuser doesn't want to have to face public scrutiny. All right. So, what do? They will typically try to message or call the people they are harming privately. Because if they can get you into a private conversation, then there's more of a chance that they will be able to hoover you back up. And that's what they want to do, is hoover people up. How many ever people they can, to try to get people on their side. Excuse me. And then they may try to utilize tactics like triangulation, using using flying monkeys and fleas, or combining those, to try to get the person they're victimizing or people they're victimizing silenced. They can also try to use like a large fan base. Davi Vanity did this, he would troll his fans for victims allegedly, and then use his fans to silence those victims. And toxic people love doing that. So, Yellow Rock is difficult. Yellow Rock is, you answer their questions, but you don't give them any emotional responses. You interact with them, but you don't allow them to have any power, control, or dominance in the situation. You take all of your power back and you give them nothing in return. Because toxic people are like vampires, and they will try to suck every bit of empathy, compassion, care, love, anything out of you so that you feel like you're an empty husk. And they love doing that. They love it. Absolutely adore it. So if you're dealing with somebody who is toxic, you cannot give them any empathy, care, compassion, or anything like that. If you know that they're abusive and they're toxic, don't feel bad for them. If things are not going their way, they did that. Let them reap what they have sown and the rewards of all of their betrayals. There's another thing that's really important to understand, and that is betrayal blindness. Be aware of betrayal blindness. I'm thinking that possibly a good example of this might be the Neil Gaiman and Amanda Palmer situation. She might have been dealing with, possibly, with betrayal blindness. And that can be a hard place to be. Betrayal blindness can come up over for many different reasons. Maybe it's your place to live and you're scared of what will happen if you face and fully confront what is actually happening and the abuse that is happening and actually do something about it. It can be scary. Sympathy ploys can be extremely destructive, and they can be outright lies. Abusers will make up shit for a sympathy ploy. Some people also will call this a sympathy card. Like they throw down that sympathy card and they're like, oh, I want to turn this in for your heart or your access to you so that I can further harm you. Okay. So yeah. Sympathy ploys. If you're dealing with somebody who's toxic and they start doing that sympathy ploy thing, yellow rock or gray rock, either way. Gray rock is more a no contact kind of thing to a degree. But it can be like yellow rock and gray rock can you can combine them to a degree. Here's an example. I've talked about this before. My ex, when I left, tried to message me and all of that, doing the, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. I promise, I swear, I'll grow, I'll be better, I'll go to counseling, blah, 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 blah. I, me. It was all about him. He was apologizing, but it was all about him. Very little of, little, if anything, having to do with, I hurt you and I'm sorry. It was just, I was supposed to feel bad for him. And considering everything that he did, I didn't feel the least bit bad for him. Because I realized that what he was doing was a sympathy ploy. He was attempting to hoover me up, and I needed to yellow rock. So I did, which immediately ticked him off because I wasn't falling for it anymore. The reason I'm doing this video tonight is because a person who was harmed by someone in the anti-Scientology community, some of you can guess who that is, messaged me and asked me to do this video. So, if you don't want to have to do a sympathy ploy apology, don't harm people. Go to therapy. See if that will help you. Be honest about what you are doing and what you have experienced and all of the things, and take it seriously and get help and heal thyself. Or this is just going to keep on going and going and going and going and going, and it isn't going to stop. Because the only way that an abusive person is going to stop is if they actually go and get help and take the steps needed to fix themselves. Nobody else can fix you. Nobody has a door in their forehead where you can just open up the door and get some tools out and rummage around in there and fix that person's brain. It doesn't work that way. You have to fix yourself. If you think you're dealing with somebody who's toxic and or abusive, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this anymore with you. I'm done. We're done. That's it." And they come back at you and they start apologizing, and it's all a whole bunch of them saying "I" and "me," but very little of you. That's a sign that it's a sympathy ploy apology. If they're not actually addressing what they did, if you say, "Okay, well, you're apologizing, but what are you apologizing for?" And they can't tell you, they don't know, and they don't care. They don't actually care, and they don't actually mean their apology. They might as well bust out a ukulele, you know, and start singing. Um, that's effectively what they're doing. So, you know, and you don't have to be in an intimate relationship with someone to experience these things. It can be a friend, a coworker, someone in a religious setting, whatever thing. It doesn't have to be a DV situation. It can be any kind of situationship. Friends like that are not real friends. Just an FYI. Uh, you might as well have like 10 enemies instead of that one friend. At least you'll know where you really stand. Um, and hoovering, I can't say this enough. Um, so you could have the initial victim that is being harmed, and then the person who is harming them is introduced to all their friends, family, all the people around them. And that abuser could try to hoover up all those people around that victim to isolate the victim, to take their support network and safety network away from them. And they love doing that. Love it. They do it all the time. That is normal. That happens. Um, and if they cannot hoover up those people around that victim, they may try to get aggressive with them and um, kind of force them to leave out. Here's what you can do for your friend or family member or coworker, whoever, to combat that. Let that person know, the victim, let them know that you'll back off if they want you to or need you to, but at any point if you need them, they will be there. You'll be there for them. um, because that can be a deciding factor in if a victim can get out effectively and safely. Um, and hello to anyone who's here. So yeah. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Alrighty. All right. So if anyone has any questions, what have you, that is fine. You can ask away. I know that one person who messaged me is probably not going to be speaking on here, and that's totally fine. You don't have to publicly say anything. I don't expect you to. I understand. Because yeah. So in the tags, I also have women's rights. And we will be talking about this in live streams from this point forward because of things that are going on in the US. So, yeah. Um, Give me 1 second, y'all. Someone just messaged me. Okay. All right. So, just because you're in a situationship, maybe things are not great, it doesn't mean, um, that you can't get out. You can. You can get out and you can stay out. Um, but you once you get out, you have to be aware of the likelihood that a person is going to try to do to finagle some way of getting you to talk with them privately, especially, so that they can hoover you back up. It's just standard. It's almost like there's a playbook and or like a abuse for dummies book, and they all use this standardized package of harming people. So if you get out for at least the first few months, um, try not to speak with that person privately. Try to keep a very rigid, if you have to speak with them, try to keep a very rigid communication. Maybe use apps with AI generated chat where the AI generates the response for you. So you don't have to have, because you have to keep your emotions out of it, which is hard. And they know that. They know that they're going to try to push your buttons, try to get you to clap back, and then they got you. Then they've got that narc fuel, and they can try to use what you say against you. They can try to make accusations against you that you're going to want to um, fight back against. Don't. Just don't even bother. They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. And don't engage with it. Just don't even worry about it. There are a lot of people in the chat or in the watching the live. You know, you can chat if you want to, if you have any questions. It's fine. It's why I'm here. Um, okay, so if you're feeling like you're stuck, that's actually kind of normal. If you're feeling like you're stuck in an abusive situation, that happens. And most people, when they're in a situationship, that's exactly how you feel, like you're stuck. Is this thing stuck on? Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can fix the I don't know what's happening with the chat because this is coming up. Maki came up. Um, do do do. Okay, so it is working. Why is everything so glitchy lately? Okay. Yeah, weird. Alrighty, so if you're in an abusive situationship, it's not a relationship, first off. Second off, um, if you're in an abusive situationship, you're not culpable. You'll hear people saying things like, "Oh, she's culpable. Oh, she did it. Oh, why did she do that?" Or he or they, them. Y that's victim blaming mentality. If you catch your partner cheated, it's actually kind of understandable that you would yell and not be happy about that when you don't know if they're using protection. They could have just slept with the person they're cheating on you with that day, and you're like, "Ew." That's a a normal emotional response to somebody possibly putting your life at risk. So if you hear someone saying something about, "Well, she's culpable. She chose to be in that person is a victim blamer. They're victim blaming, victim shaming, and perpetuating harm against that, potential victim, and that's actually pretty disgusting. Um, most people don't even think about that, though. And most people who say things like that do not understand the process of being sucked into and hoovered up into, um, a toxic situation, and it doesn't matter if you're intimate or friends or whatever, most people don't understand the whole process behind abusive situations. Like, they don't understand at all, um, but they'll open their mouths and do a lot of this, especially those people who've never been in a situation like that. They love don't listen to them. If you're in a situationship or if you have a so-called friend who's abusive or coworker, what have you, don't listen to the people who talk the smack, because they can talk the smack, but if they haven't walked a mile in your shoes, they have no idea. Absolutely none. And it is not your fault. Absolutely not. Um, so yeah, if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, let me know either right here in the chat, comments, either way. I had something up on a tab, and for whatever reason, I think I accidentally X'd off that tab. Um, do, do, do. Alright, so I might just split this up into 2 different streams because this is a lot to cover. Tomorrow, we might end up having several live streams going on. Um, alright, if nobody has any questions, then I'm gonna get going. I was just invited to another live stream with a friend. Like I said, anyone has any questions or anything, you can ask in the comments. Um, if you want to request a live stream kind of fine-tuning something, just let me know. Do understand that yellow rock is difficult. Yellow rock and gray rock are both difficult. They just are by the very nature. Um, and yeah. Hmm, I'm wondering if there's something going on with live stream right now. Alright, I'm gonna get going. Remember, you have the right to say no, and that includes conversating with somebody who's abusive and, being hoovered back up and, uh, repeating the whole cycle. You don't have to repeat that. By the way, abusers dealing with an abuser is like being on a roller coaster ride. It goes up and down, round and round, and it is very confusing and draining and painful, and it's It's not your fault. You are not culpable. Anyone who says otherwise is, in need of an education. Okay. Alright. Bye, y'all. See you tomorrow.